case, E. Jean Carroll will return to the stand in Manhattan for more cross-examination by the former president's attorney. Trump is not expected to be in attendance and will reportedly be in Florida for his mother-in-law's funeral. The aide who called 911 for Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on New Year's Day apparently asked the ambulance to be discreet because of a request from Austin's team to be subtle. In a newly released recording, the aide requests Austin to be taken to Walter Reed, where he was treated earlier for prostate cancer and then readmitted for complications, something the White House and national security officials were left in the dark about for days. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Is this the takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are back at 500 after last night's 17-point win over Dallas at Crypto.com. Anthony Davis messed around and almost got a triple-double. 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. D'Angelo Russell led the Lakers with 29 points. LeBron had 25 and 9 assists. The Lakers are at home Friday night against Brooklyn. LeBron's son, Bronny James, played a season-high 30 minutes last night in USC's Pac-12 conference game at Arizona. Bronny had 11 points and 6 assists. USC lost by 15. The Trojans are at Arizona State on Saturday. UCLA's men's basketball team overcame a 15-point deficit in the second half to win by 2 at Arizona State. The Bruins got 18 points from Larza Stefanovic. Two historic HBCU football programs will play each other for the first time in 75 years. Grambling is hosting Tuskegee on September 7th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First. And my first thing today and every single day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Happy Thursday. We got a lot to talk about, so this is the format. You get in where you fit in. Hour one, we look left, what's going on the West Coast, this side of town. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person of interest, a hot topic, that kind of thing. Today, we'll be talking with Dr. Jen Jackson. Her book, Black Women Taught Us, is like a roadmap for women's Black History Month, Black Women's History Month, something like that. Looking forward to that conversation and all she has to bring to the table. Right now, it is my pleasure and my honor to be joined by a colleague here on KBLA. He's part of This Is Not a Drill every Saturday morning, one of the hosts of that. He is a longtime campaign organizer, political operative, and founder of the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute. You may know him also as a lead organizer for Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, known by one name. Good morning, Akili.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning to the KBLA family. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I already feel like I'm so far behind on election season. You know, it's like, okay, I've got to get caught up on these propositions, these candidates. March seemed really far away last month, but I think the ballots land in February, right?
Around February 6th, between the 4th and the 6th of February. So they should be landing in your mailbox.
So that's a couple weeks out. Is there anything that you're tracking in particular as far as these ballot initiatives or issues, or is it too soon to tell? Because I really, I said I was going to do it this week and didn't do it, got it. So I promise I'll do it this coming weekend. I've got to do a deep dive and really do the homework on what is on the ballot.
I think locally, what they call HLA, to raise money for transportation and raise much more money for that is something that's going to be taking a look at. I think the district attorney's election is important because Gascon has come in and done some things that had not been done in many years, primarily prosecuting police in ways that have not been done, at all in most cases. So that's going to be interesting. I think on the statewide level, I think the U.S. Senate race with Barbara Lee and Adam Schiff and Katie Porter and Steve Garvey looked interesting. The Republicans have put somebody out that they think that has a chance. So that's going to be very interesting. And I think that Barbara Lee, for me anyway, is beginning to gain a lot more steam. She is campaigning up and down the state, and I mean she's at somewhat of a disadvantage in the fact that both Katie Porter and Adam Schiff have raised a lot more money, but in large part that money comes from the corporate world. So that ought to be an interesting race to watch.
Yeah, I think all of those are pretty important. I don't know, I know Black Lives Matter LA, and I'm pretty sure that the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute do not directly endorse candidates, and I'm not sure. I know that you as an individual are free to do so. And so I'm particularly interested in your thoughts around the district attorney's race. We do have two of the candidates coming Monday, John McKinney and Jeff Chemerinsky, who seems to be, McKinney is black and Chemerinsky is to the left of, maybe not to the left, but definitely catering to the same progressive crowd as Gascon. So I would think those two would be formidable challengers.
Well, they could be. I think that for me, what I've heard is a lot of talk about going back to Steve Cooley and Jackie Lacey.
Right.
So there's that, and there's this constant belief that if we just lock up more people, particularly more black people, that somehow or another things will change. that things will get better. But certainly they haven't. There's no evidence of that. And there's a lot of evidence that things get a lot worse for black people. So, I think that those that are advocating, returning to those days certainly will not have my support. I think Gascon has done what he set out to do. He's begun to change the department. He's begun to try to change the culture in the department. He's done away with a lot of the unnecessary enhancements that have contributed to mass incarceration in the state, and I think has done a good job of at least stating what he wanted to do and then working to try to do it. There are some people who are running who may be trying to be to his left, but I haven't seen what their position. I haven't seen what their practical applications are yet. I've seen what Gascon's practical applications are. The fact that last Friday, a LA sheriff was actually found guilty.
Yeah.
In the murder of Ryan Twyman, and it will be convicted and spend 30 days. Now, 30 days in jail doesn't sound like a month, but that hadn't happened in over 22 years. And the fact that he would be decertified, that is, he won't be able to be a part of law enforcement or carry a gun in this state or any state for that matter. Again, that's something that almost never happens. And so, and that's because Gascon saw what happened with Ryan Twyman and thought it was egregious and illegal and prosecuted the police and the sheriffs. That generally has not happened. And there are other issues that he's done, and he's tried to focus on fact-based litigation, not just this kind of we got to lock them up and throw away the key approach. And so, that's going to be an interesting race to watch.
Yeah. Chiquita Twyman was on the show on Monday, the sister of Ryan Twyman, and she really broke down why, she wanted more than 30 days, but why they felt it was a victory, her and her family. Part of the reason being that, what you said, the guy loses his certification, but also she pointed out he'll lose his pension, and that he will have 2 felonies. So he'll leave regardless of how much time he has. He's got 2 felonies. He's got 2 years of probation, and he is just decertified, not allowed to carry a weapon, not allowed to be law enforcement ever again. So. And especially getting stripped of the pension. Those are big deals.
Yes, they are. And I dare say that would not have happened in the past administrations. Steve Cooley or Jackie Lacey would not have done that. All the evidence points is that they would not have done that. And so the fact that happened, the fact that there have been a number of other, efforts by the district attorney, right today, later on today, the killers of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell, who was killed in Torrance, are going to trial. So, and that's happening today in Superior Court at 9:00 down. So at 110 Temple Street, and many of us will be there to support the family of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. But the fact that he's even going to court, the fact that those police officers are on trial would not have happened 3 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah, great points. And I think important points to make, because I feel that maybe not many, there is a core group of black people that are definitely buying into the anti-crime hysteria and really feeling like, the smash and grabs and street racing represents a dangerous spike in crime that is the fault of our district attorney. That is the conservative line, the talking points. And I feel like some of us are buying into it. Well, because people are terrified of what happens with the street racing, or they feel that the lawlessness represented by those smash and grabs is very problematic for our community. But this is not just happening here under this district attorney. It's happening in other cities as well. And I think nobody wants to hear this, but it's overhyped because it's great footage. So news channels like to show it over and over and over and over and over. So we have to have a task force for it, and everybody starts clutching their pearls. But does it really mean that your individual life is less safe, or that the district attorney is somehow failing?
Well, and because we live in what I call a hammer-based society, because hammers look for nails, and we look for punishment above all else. The first thing that we look at when there's a sensationalized, high-profile crime that looks like black people and brown people are involved in, the first thing we look to do is look at maximum punishment. And so these are sensationalized, high-profile acts. But overall, if you listen to the police reports, and the crime has been down, quite frankly, and property crimes have stabilized. So these sensationalized, that makes some people, like you said, clutch their pearls. But overall, that's not the case. And I think this notion that somehow if you try to apply a fair standard for people in the community, that's being soft on crime. And that's a term that was used for decades.
Yeah, it's the old three strikes lingo,
yep.
The old prop,
yep.
187 lingo. You know what? We are inviting you into the conversation, and Akili's here with me, of course, Dominique DiPrima, Miles Lowe in the other room, but just pretend you're at my kitchen table. Get you some water or a nice fresh juice or some sea moss, something wonderful to start your day, and feel free to check in on YouTube, youtube.com, KBLA 1580, or call 800-920-1580. You can hit me up on all the socials. I do monitor them during the show in case someone has an interesting, funny, or crazy comment. We are at KBLA 1580 on every platform, and you can find me at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. I think you're Akili 5454, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, on IG, and it's become Akili for the people .com. And yes, so it's Akili 5454 is my Instagram.
And AkiliForThePeople.com. Perfect time to call.
Yes.
It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Don't miss out on limited time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, so much going on. You mentioned the senator's race, Akili. I'm surprised I haven't heard more from Katie Porter. She's very popular. She's progressive. She's young. But I maybe it's where I read and where I get my news, but I haven't heard her making much noise, although I know she's got a pretty good campaign war chest. Even at the Martin Luther King Day parade, Adam Schiff was there, Congresswoman Barbara Lee was there, but I didn't see Katie Porter. And I just wonder, if that means anything. I did see an interesting article in the LA Times about how, this is some time ago, a few weeks ago, about how positions on Palestine are going to end up playing a role in this race to some extent. Adam Schiff, very, very, very pro Netanyahu, very pro-Israel. And I was surprised, actually, to see how little regard he seemed to have I heard a long interview with him on CNN regarding the actual civilian loss of life in Gaza. Of course, Barbara Lee is famous for taking anti-war positions going all the way back to Iraq. And Katie Porter is somewhere in the middle. She's walking that line. So, for some people, that could be a litmus test for who they vote for, right?
Well, certainly for those of us who believe in a ceasefire and a free Palestine, that would be certainly something that many of us would look at. And I think in Katie Porter's thinking, there's no evidence that I've seen that she's had much understanding relationship or history with Black people. Her district there's very few Black people in her district. Certainly she's smart, she's intelligent, she's become a personality. But I don't think she has history, relationship, or even a understanding of Black people, the Black community, and the Black condition. And she typifies. And just because there's no evidence of it, that's my thinking. I think Adam Schiff is much more political and knows that. Is much more strategic, rather, and knows that at least project like he has some history and understanding of Black people in the Black community.
I feel like he's been on this radio station so many times. He's done Tavis's show about 1 million times. Yes. He's been on my show once. And he did my show when I had the front page. So I do think there is a relationship there. A lot of people really applauded his work as an impeachment manager, right? When the first time they were taking down He Who Shall Not Be Named. And so I think he does have a valid relationship with the African-American community. But I imagine that the strong support of Netanyahu and the disregard for civilian life that I heard in that CNN interview could undermine that.
Yeah, and he is parroting the Israeli narrative that they're after terrorists and that they have to take on Hamas and that kind of thing, without and somehow with a broad brush painting everybody in the Gaza as terrorists, and so they have a right and responsibility to completely annihilate everybody in the it's in Gaza, and so he is parroting that line. He is and that is, I think, certainly for me, I hear that all the time, and I've had a deep respect for Barbara Lee going back to the days when she was the only person that stood up against the Gulf War, and the fact that she was attacked and terrorized, for taking a principled stand, and she has done that throughout her career in Congress, and I think that she would do that certainly as the state senator, as the U.S. senator, So, I do want to say that I think Schiff is smart enough to know that the kind of symbolic things you need to do in terms of projecting relationships within the black community. I think he's smart enough to do that and has done that. There's not very many black folks in Glendale in his district, and a few years ago when there was an effort to issue an apology for Glendale being part of his district, a sundown town, he said nothing and did nothing. And it would have been very easy for him to do that. So I think some of it, and I want to draw a distinction between the symbolism and the substance, in relationship to Adam Schiff. And for me, the substance is not always there, and it's in my mind exemplified by any resistance, any willingness to consider a ceasefire.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Politico poll. It's from December, but still, Schiff with a huge lead. And interestingly, to your point, Steve Garvey jumping up in this Politico poll. Mm-hmm. Schiff is at 28%, Garvey's at 19%. If that holds, Porter at 17%, Barbara Lee at 14%, which makes them statistically tied. So if that holds, it could be Schiff versus Garvey. We could have a Republican and a Democrat on the ticket, because it looks like they're clearly going to go to a runoff. There's, Denise Penn, Gary Pandol, Christina Pascucci, James Bradley, Eric Early, and some other people that are running who I've never heard of. So there's a bunch of people like slicing up that pie. And if we don't see a big surge for Barbara Lee, she's still within striking distance. She will not make the runoff. It could be Schiff versus Garvey, Schiff versus Porter, or Schiff versus Lee is how it looks right now. And I think, those are interesting points. The other thing, Katie Porter is the youngest one by far, and there are plenty of folks that feel like we need to get a young senator in, because senators tend to, they don't have term limits. They tend to stay in there in order to keep the blue seat, since Porter has already sacrificed a blue seat in Orange County, which is something we may not be able to recover. Some people think we should vote for her simply because she's younger. It was interesting. One outlet noted that she said, it was the Washington Free Beacon, that she says a black woman should replace Dianne Feinstein, but she's running anyway.
Yeah, and I see, and that's a contradictory statement.
Right.
If a black woman should replace Feinstein, then why are you running? And so, she'd have done better not to say that.
Yeah.
It's just contradictory. And if anything, she should get behind Barbara Lee if she believed that. But I think that was just a statement on her part. I I don't know if
it was a
backed up
response
by
to a
the
reporter's
strongest.
question
Yeah.
is what it really
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, we got news, traffic, and sports right now, and there are lots and lots of things to talk about. I love that you highlighted Christopher DeAndre Mitchell being in court. His killers being in court today. I want to drill down a little bit more on that, and I also want to look at some new laws around cops and stops, and hopefully decriminalizing lowriders. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We welcome you to a Thursday. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Maryland, Airbnb is creating a panel to help address the affordable housing crisis. The company announced the formation of the Housing Council Wednesday. Now it's made up of housing experts and chaired by the former mayor of Baltimore, African-American Stephanie Rawlings Blake. The council will advise Airbnb on how the company can support initiatives that work to increase America's housing supply and drive down prices. Well, it's been a week since the opening of OpenAI's GPT store, and users are already breaking the rules. A search for girlfriend on the new GPT store will populate the site's results bar with at least 8 girlfriend AI chatbots. The company bans apps dedicated to fostering romantic companionship. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are back at 500 after last night's 17-point win over Dallas at Crypto.com. Anthony Davis messed around and almost got a triple-double. 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. D'Angelo Russell led the Lakers with 29 points. LeBron had 25 and 9 assists. The Lakers are at home Friday night against Brooklyn. LeBron's son, Bronny James, played a season-high 30 minutes last night in USC's Pac-12 conference game at Arizona. Bronny had 11 points and 6 assists. USC lost by 15. The Trojans are at Arizona State on Saturday. UCLA's men's basketball team overcame a 15-point deficit in the second half to win by 2 at Arizona State. The Bruins got 18 points from Lazar Stefanovic. 2 historic HBCU football programs will play each other for the first time in 75 years. Grambling is hosting Tuskegee on September 7th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Do you have both Medi-Cal and Medicare?
If so, the new LA Care plan called Medicare Plus can help you get the most out of your health plan for $0.
LA Care provides personalized service to Angelinos like us.
Plus, it gives us access to doctors and specialists across Los Angeles County.
For zero cost, we get access to full benefits.
From vision coverage,
in-home support services,
to prescription drug coverage,
and a quarterly over-the-counter allowance.
Plus personal equipment,
meal programs,
a gym membership,
and so much more.
For more than 25 years,
LA Care has provided Angelinos with access to quality health care at an affordable cost.
For our families,
our seniors,
our community,
it's a plus.
It's a plus
for all of us.
August 24th, 2023, Joan created for eBay. Ad ID EBPA02650000. Spot title, Are We There Yet? 30 seconds, radio full mix.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hello, I'm John McKinney, your candidate for District Attorney. As an African American who has served our community for over 25 years, I'm proud to have successfully convicted the killer of Nipsey Hussle, standing up for justice where it matters most. But my commitment extends beyond the courtroom. I'm deeply invested in youth development. And when it comes to our police, I believe in accountability. It is essential that those who protect us are also responsible to us, reflecting the values and integrity of our community. This election, I ask for your vote. I am John McKinney, and I'm running to be your district attorney. Learn more at McKinneyforLA.com.
Paid for by John McKinney for LA District Attorney 2024.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
I tried to quit smoking cigarettes probably hundreds of times over the years. 2 or 3 days into quitting again, I go get into a vehicle, and guess what? There's a pack of cigarettes in there. I mean, I've got the unlit cigarette in my hand. And I said to myself, why do I even try to quit if I'm going to cave so easily every time? Something clicked in my head that told me I can do this.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Talking with Akili, Black Lives Matter LA, the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute, and what y'all may not know or remember is that Akili has worked on many a campaign as an organizer, from Barack Obama going back, all the way back to Jesse Jackson, I believe.
Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
Yes, Jesse Jackson. Jerry Brown, 1980s.
Wow, the first time.
Yeah, that was my first presidential campaign. I worked 6 presidential campaigns all together, and Jerry Brown was the first. And that was because Cesar Chavez asked me to do it, and because Caesar supported Jerry Brown. And so that was my first campaign. So,
wow.
So
it's a lot of campaigns.
Done a lot of them.
A lot of things I want to try to see if we can squeeze in here, Akili, get your thoughts. I was happy to hear about the this new law that no longer allows counties to outlaw cruising. It was formally defined as, you pass a certain spot too many times and it's cruising. Crenshaw actually has no cruising signs up, but apparently that is no longer allowed under state law. And the height restrictions that had been used on vehicles in order to make lowriders illegal are no longer allowable either. So it seems like they have legalized lowriding.
Well, I don't know about legalizing lowriding. What I do know is that those appearances have implied or suggested that somehow or another the people who are involved in that, the next step over is that they are criminals, and so they were criminalized for basically recreational driving and displaying their cars, and so that has been taken away now. And they are no longer criminalized. They're no longer, law enforcement can't just harass them, in part because whenever you do that to a people, and it's mostly done to Black and brown people, you wind up contributing to two things: the mass incarceration and hurt, harm, and damage, because those kind of things escalate, not de-escalate. And so the fact that that's no longer criminalized, I think, is a good thing.
You know what? I feel like you're right. And of course, they'll still be profiled. Of course, that's what police do. But at least it takes away some of the justification. Another thing that seems related is that officers can't say, "Do you know what I stopped you for?" Which I can't even remember how many times I've been asked that by a cop who pulled me over, which elicits a confession, or you have to lie and say you don't know what they pulled you over for. Now they actually have to tell you why they're pulling you over when they do so, which seems a lot more fair rather than, oh, you know, look, I have a right to remain silent, but the first thing you're asking me for when you pull me over is a confession, and or putting me in a position where I have to lie or where I feel I have to lie. So I think that's a subtle but important improvement.
It is, and I think one of the things that I just last month or 2 months ago, we did a Know Your Rights session, and one of the things that just kept coming out, and every time I've been a part of these, it's almost as if you don't have any real rights other than to be silent. The laws are tilted toward law enforcement, and so as a resident, your best bet is simply not to say anything. And so these kinds of policy positions that have been overturned, or new policy positions where, instead of you telling the police why they stopped you, I mean, you're not a mind reader, you're not, them telling you why they stopped you.
You're not a mind reader. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, whether or not they'll actually follow the law, who knows? And if a cop asks me, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I doubt I'll be going, "You're not allowed to ask me that anymore." I'll more. I might say, Are you going to tell me why?
No, tell me.
Tell me. Are you going to tell me why? Let's go to
I don't know why you stopped me.
You stopped me because I'm beautiful and powerful. You stopped me because you just wanted to gaze on my beautiful face. Let's go to Dwight calling us from the city of Compton.
Good morning, Dominique, and you do have a beautiful face.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for all the things you're doing, and say good morning to all the KBLA family out there and all the hardworking postal workers out there, and Jumbo to everyone. I just wanted to agree with you, Dominique. We have to continue to be, and thank you for all the information you give us, too. We have to just stay informed, like you say, just keep reading, listening, watching, and get your information from reliable sources, because I just found out that now they're trying to give the Supreme Court something to rule on that's called the Chevron Act, that would allow judges to say what pollution you could do to the air, to the food, to the water, and instead of leaving it in the hands of the EPA, because they come up with some act supposed to be for fishermen or something that sounds, like it doesn't mean that much. But the Koch brothers are, I think it's only one of them alive now. I think it's David Koch, who's alive right now, behind it. And it's called Chevron, kind of like Chevron gas. That's how I remember the name of it. And they're trying to pass that through the Supreme Court now, as if the Supreme Court doesn't have enough on their plate right now to deal with. And they're trying to squeeze this through, and they try to do it in a quiet, undercover manner where we don't really see the real reason why a lot of these things are being passed. And I found a lot of times it's almost like we buying the robes for the Ku Klux Klan, because like we do with Murdoch, we watch Fox, and I'm guilty of that too. I watch the football games, and I can't deny that, and we buy Koch brother products, which is Georgia Pacific. So when you go to the store, look on the label if you can, and sometimes they have the best sales on this stuff, like Brawny paper towels or something, look on the label that says Georgia Pacific, and try not to buy it if you can. Because I found out the post office, when I worked at the post office, we were buying Georgia Pacific for our paper towels in our restrooms, And I said, oh, no, the post office is buying big quantities of items, and we're buying Georgia Pacific.
Right,
So
from the
I
very
said,
people who want to dismantle the post office, privatize it or annihilate it. Interesting.
I couldn't even understand why we sold George Trump the old post office in Washington, D.C. I said, but you know what? They tried to get rid of the truck drivers a while back. So it's people in high places that try to do things from the inside, like we had this attack on our Capitol on January 6th. There were senators and Congress people, I'm sure, involved with that the DOJ still hasn't actually gone after.
Yeah, well,
but,
we know
Dominique,
some of them we saw.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dwight. Akili, you want to respond to any of the things that Dwight said? I'm not quite sure who George Trump is, but
Yeah. Well, I think there is the Supreme Court doesn't pass legislation. What they do is rule on legislation.
Right.
And one of the things that they're going to be ruling on is the rights and responsibility and authority of the Environmental Protection Agency and almost all agencies to create regulations that hold industry accountable and the rest.
To do their jobs, in other words, basically.
Yeah. There's been a 30-year effort on the part of, and probably longer, on the part of a lot of regulated industries to try to undermine any agency that regulates them. If they can't get rid of them, which is what they want to do, then they want to try to undermine them. So the Supreme Court will be looking at particularly the EPA. And does the EPA have the right to? And it's also extending that to the FDA. Does the Federal Drug Administration, the Food and Drug Administration, rather, do those agencies have the right responsibility and authority to write regulations that can hold corporations accountable? And I think because of the right-leaning Supreme Court, and Gorsuch has pretty much said that he is, going to be
all in,
supporting this.
I mean, but the problem with it is then you have federal judges deciding whether a drug is safe, and they're not doctors. They're not scientists. They're judges. So federal judges will decide what level of emissions and such are safe for human consumption. The reason for these agencies is so that we could have expertise and somebody protecting the public. If it's lawsuits with lawyers for corporations convincing judges who are neither doctors nor scientists what's safe for human beings, that's a sad day. I was surprised that Amy Coney Barrett showed some skepticism, but only because she said it might bring a wave of litigation, not because she's concerned about protecting the public, And Elena Kagan, really made the point of like what I just said, which is then you're forcing judges to make decisions in areas for which they have no expertise.
And you can see it happening in the efforts around against pro-choice.
Yeah.
Judges in Texas are making decisions about the health conditions of women and whether a woman can and should have the right to choose what she does with her body and with the health of her body. And so there has been an effort, and I think the last president, at least if he didn't do anything, and he didn't, he at least for the right wing appointed the judges that they wanted, and so they have this conservative majority, and they have gone about undermining almost all of the gains of the past 50 years across a whole range of public policy, and this is just one more.
Talking with Akili, when we come forward, I do want to follow up on Christopher DeAndre. When we come forward, want to make sure folks are understanding what is going on. It's an historic moment. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
There's only a few days left for open enrollment, starting at $0 a month. LA Care Covered offers the benefits you need to achieve your health goals. $0 preventive services, 24/7 virtual care and nurse advice lines, walk-in minute clinics, free fitness and nutrition classes, and more. Become a member of LA's most affordable health plan. Get a free instant quote at lacarecovered.org. Have open enrollment questions? Connect with us today at 855-222-4239. Find your affordable path to wellness with LA Care Covered today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriCanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriCanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of This Light of Ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This Light of Ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This Light of Ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You do belong here, and I'm so glad you are here. Akili is with me on the air. You can find him at AkiliForCalifornia.com. Is it CA or the whole? No, Akili for the People. Sorry, AkiliForThePeople.com. Yes. Or Akili5454 on Instagram. I'm there at DiPrima Radio. We are there at KBLA 1580, and they have got it going on in the chat if you want to jump in. It's YouTube, KBLA 1580. Please like, follow, subscribe. Hit the like button if you would. I would so appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. Many people may not realize that the city of Torrance here on the west coast of these United States was a sundown town. The Torrance Police Department has that reputation for terrorizing black people in particular, also Latine folks. And in a rare moment of accountability, a couple officers are on trial for the murder of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. Take it away, Akili.
Well, and that would not have happened had there not been a Black Lives Matter and a Black Lives Matter grassroots. And here was a young man who had done nothing wrong. He was in his car. The police followed him into a parking lot, and within 15 seconds, they shot him. There was no, they said he had a rifle, but if you look, a gun rather. But if you look at the video, he was responding and complying with them, or trying to comply with them, and they shot him. Well, those officers have been on trial now for the murder of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. But the reason that happened is because Black Lives Matter every Tuesday went to Torrance and challenged them and challenged
to the city
the
council
district attorney
meetings on
and
Tuesdays.
the
Yeah.
city council meeting on Tuesdays. And challenge them much the same way we do the L.A. Police Commission. And so those challenges, those confrontations led to a whole series of outcomes. And one of them was, that the DA went back and looked at the video and looked at the evidence and saw that there was enough evidence there to bring the police, at least to bring an indictment against the police. And so they're on trial now. The city of Torrance settled one of the largest settlements with the mother of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. They've had a number of their officers be disciplined and some fired for anti-Semitic emails and texts back and forth. So the Torrance police, like many of the small city police, have had some serious problems. But this is one case where at least there is some effort at transparency and accountability, but it would not have happened had there not been a Black Lives Matter LA and a Black Lives Matter grassroots.
Yeah, it's always, back to the slogan, when we fight, we win. And one thing about Black Lives Matter, especially BLMLA, is you all are relentless. Week in, week out. Ask LAPD Chief Michael Moore. Ask LAPD Chief, Charlie Beck. Ask former LA District Attorney Jackie Lacey. And ask the Torrance Police Department. Y'all just do not give up.
Well, but that's how change is made. And I want to give a shout out to Sheila Bates, who has been the lead organizer in Torrance on this issue. But I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of about Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter movement in the grassroots is that we are regular and consistent. We do more than just call a press conference or have a rally. We have been protesting police violence and the police associations for 153 weeks every Wednesday. At 1313 West A Street. Just like we did for 3.5 years going after Jackie Lacey, because that's how change is made. Change isn't made while it's necessary to have these one-time kind of events. Change is made when you're regular, when you're consistent. It is only just you and some other folks showing up. But we've been very fortunate to build a solid base of support, a solid base of participation, and it allows us to mobilize people and to direct the energy of people toward accountability.
Yep, that's well said. Akili, so folks are invited to show up today at 9:00 in court at 110 Temple Street downtown. Is that the deal in support of the family of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell?
Absolutely. Department 9, so go upstairs, join us. This is historic. Most of the time, these police are not indicted and certainly not prosecuted. And so this is an historic effort, and we want to continue to hold police accountable and demand transparency.
Okay, just a couple minutes left. I understand that you, like me, will be attending the homegoing services for the late Bobby Jean Anderson.
Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, if you could just say a little bit about her and why you feel moved to go and celebrate her life today.
Very quickly, she was my neighbor, first of all.
Oh.
But Bobby Jean, I think, exempted, and she's one of the first people that the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute recognized during our Black History Month. But because she represented a person very much in the fashion of Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. She was like your aunt. She was like your grandmother. Mm-hmm. She was always there. She was active. You could count on Bobby. She was dependable. And I think that that, particularly within the Democratic Party, but also within social justice issues. And her presence will be sorely missed.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of those kind of Black women that exemplifies the struggle, the Black liberation struggle, but also the struggle of women and their contributions.
Yeah, she's the kind of Black woman that's constantly saving the Democratic Party. It's today. The viewing is at 9. The service is at 10 at Greater Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church, 5300 Denker Avenue in Los Angeles. And, Congresswoman Maxine Waters will be an officiant there, will be the officiant there. And, of course, Pastor Denon Porter. And they're going to stream it live on the Greater Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church Facebook page if you want to just say a final farewell to the fabulous, the inimitable, the very kind and very activist Bobby Jean Anderson, a great American. Yes. I'll say. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Well, Akili, thank you so much for being with us. Tell us one more time how to follow you. You got things going on.
Yes, you can follow me at Akili AKA 4 thepeople.com, on all my socials, Facebook, IG, X, and Thread. You can go to that and follow me. And I look forward to seeing you later on today to recognize and remember a great person.
Akili, thank you so much. Got news, traffic, and sports? Send your phone calls on KBLA